Alright, so you purchased an iPad, and you're thinking you want to get the Apple Pencil as well. But you looked at the price, and it's $130. And you already spent $1,000 on an iPad Pro, or maybe you're trying to save money, so you bought the iPad Air, and you can't go and spend another $130 on a stylus. So is there really a cheaper option than the Apple Pencil Pro that can still give you a great note-taking and stylus experience on the iPad? Well, I have 3 alternatives to the Apple Pencil right here. We have a very generic looking Apple Pencil kind of knockoff from Amazon. We have the Logitech Crayon, and we have ESR's Digital Pencil Pro, which can come in white as well and is also a pretty direct copy of the Apple Pencil. So first we're going to talk about the generic Bluetooth stylus that I found off of Amazon for $15. In fact, I think I bought it on Prime Day and got it for $10. So this thing is really cheap compared to $130 for the Apple Pencil. I actually bought a second one of these that looks just like it from another brand. And when I'm telling you they're carbon copies of each other, they are carbon copies of each other. Literally the only difference was that the packaging was slightly laid out differently, but everything inside was still the exact same. So when you get something like this, you're gonna get a charger in the box, and it looks like all of them are throwing in several replacement tips, even though it's not like these wear down that quickly, but this thing could last you years. So for $15, you get a charger in the box, you get replacement tips, and you get the stylus itself. So far, that's not looking too bad, is it? Next is the ESR Digital Pencil Pro. This is their top of the line spec of their stylus, and it is even closer in dimensions to the Apple Pencil itself. They're exactly the same length. They're exactly the same thickness. The only difference is the ESR pen definitely feels lighter, as there's way more going on in the Apple Pencil, and obviously it has the USB-C port right there. So for $25, you get a charger in the box and also some replacement tips. So very similar to the $15 version, just $10 more for as little bit more accurate replica of the pencil's shape. And then there's a Logitech Crayon. And this is a very highly recommended and popular alternative to the Apple Pencil for the iPad because they use actual Apple Pencil technology in the tip here to get that pixel perfect precision that Apple promises. But this is going to cost you significantly more than these cheaper alternatives. Right now, I see it on Amazon for $55, but its retail price is $70. So it can be anywhere in that range. It's usually on sale for at least something, but it can go as high as $70. But as of right now, it's still under half the price of an Apple Pencil Pro. So there is still a huge benefit to going with something like this. Although I will say I was unimpressed with what came in the box. It only had the stylus and a little bit of paperwork. That's it. There's no replacement tips. There's not even a charger in the box to charge your stylus. So I guess they just assume you can use the iPad charger, which is true. You can, and it's still USB-C at the top, but for charging you so much more, you think they could afford to probably put in a simple USB-C charger and a couple replacement tips. I mean, these companies are charging so much less, and they're giving you more in the box. Also, if you do want to replace the tip of the Logitech Crayon, it is more complicated than either of these styluses and the Apple Pencil itself. You have to get Logitech specific kit that they sell on their website for $15. So you're already paying another $15 there. And what it does, it's basically like a clamp that fits into these 2 holes on either side of the crayon. And that allows this gray cover here to come off. And then you can actually unscrew and replace the tip itself. And the tip is exactly like what Apple uses on their Apple Pencil. It is this exact same tip that's underneath there, but they just make it so much harder to actually get to it. I tried seeing if I had anything around my house to press in these pins and stuff like that and try to get the tip off and see if I can replace it without using Logitech's kit. So far, I am unsuccessful. I have not found a single thing that has worked to get this tip cover off. If you want to get the replacement tips, just like what these ones come with, you're paying an extra $15, and you have to use a specific tool that you got to keep somewhere to replace the tip whenever you need to. All right, well, that's going to lead me right into the build quality, and we can just start with the Logitech Crayon right there as well. So obviously, I'm not a big fan of how they made the tip. I think they should have made it a little bit easier to pop this off and replace it ourselves without anything else. Or if they just found a way to just not have this part cover it so much. I don't really see the benefit of that. I don't think it makes it sturdier or better really, because the tip part here is still exposed, and if you drop it right on the tip, you could still break it. So I don't really get it. I don't think it makes much sense at all, but it's what they did. And then the build here is all aluminum. It does feel pretty solid, but it also does feel light as well. I still think the Apple Pencil Pro feels a little bit denser and even more premium with the materials they use. The newer USB-C version of the Logitech Crayon no longer has a cap for the top here, which doesn't really bother me that much, but it is kind of weird just having an exposed USB-C port the entire time. I would have appreciated some kind of filler piece that was optional or whatever, at least, so that way it can be covered up more. And then all you do to turn it on is a switch. It has a red line here showing that it's off. Switch here, it is now on. And obviously some LED light indicators showing the battery life. So overall, it's not a bad design. It's fairly comfortable to hold. It's a little weird that it's this flat shape instead of just a round pen. But for $55 to $70, I just don't think this build is quite worth it, especially for its major flaw, and that is no magnets to attach to the iPad. Even the Logitech Combo Touch itself relies on the magnetic connection to store the stylus. So this wouldn't even really work very well with their own case. I don't really get why they felt the need to do this shape. I don't know if it was part of their deal with Apple. Maybe they had to make it look different. That's possible, I guess. But it does kind of feel like they're going along with that Microsoft Surface feel, because the Combo Touch is very reminiscent of the Microsoft Surface tablet and keyboard, and their Logitech Crayon is very reminiscent of the Microsoft Surface Pen. But again, they should have thought of how are we going to store this with the iPad? How is it going to work with our case? And I'm really disappointed that there's just no proper way to store this. You just have to have it in like a bag or put it in your pocket or something like that. And that's just not anywhere near as convenient. And for ESR, the build quality is totally fine. It's all plastic, which for $25 is not terrible by any means. Like I said, the dimensions are basically spot on to the Apple Pencil. So if you like how that feels in your hand, well, then you're gonna like this. And it's a little bit lighter, so it may not be quite as fatiguing, but overall, there's not a whole lot of difference there. Even the tips of the stylus themselves are very similar to the Apple Pencil. And you can actually swap this tip with an official Apple Pencil tip if you want that particular feel. I also tried to swap it with a third-party tip that is made for the Apple Pencil by Pen Tips, but that did not work, as the front of this pen must be slightly narrower than the Apple Pencil itself. But it charges with its USB-C port with absolutely no problem. It does not have battery life indicators on the device itself. It does have an LED light up top to show when it is on, and it is red when it's charging. It goes back to blue when it's fully charged, and it is supposed to charge wirelessly as well. This does work with older iPad models, but because they changed the magnets for the new M4 iPads, it's not only barely attaches magnetically, but it does not charge at all while sitting on the wireless charger here. As far as I know, they don't have an updated version of this, but they're still selling it with their bundles that have M4 iPad Pro accessories. I looked on their website and it appears to be the exact same Digital Pencil Pro I found on Amazon. So obviously, if one of you guys out there knows differently and there actually is an updated version for the M4 iPad, definitely let me know. Totally wouldn't mind correcting myself, but as far as I can see and have researched, this is the latest version and it does not work too well with the M4. At least as far as magnetic charging and storing magnetically. But at least it does still kind of stay versus the Crayon, which does not attach at all. Now we're going to talk about my favorite out of these three. That is the generic Apple Pencil, and a whole bunch of different brands has one that looks just like it. They're all basically the exact same thing, all shipped right out from China. They're probably even made at the same factory, but the build quality is actually pretty good. The worst part about it is the USB-C port is a little stiff getting the cable in and out of, but everything else about it feels very solid. The button on top feels really nice to press, And then you get some battery life indicators right here. And then a simple press on top turns it back off. So you know when the lights are on, the pen itself is on. And when the light is off, the pen is off. And I've actually been using this thing for a decent amount of time, and I only plugged it in for a couple seconds, and the battery indicators have not gone down at all yet. So I think the thing's got pretty good battery life from what I can tell. It's supposed to have about 10 hours of actual writing time, and it takes only 15 minutes for it to be fully charged. And if you don't use it for about 10 minutes, it will auto turn off. So even if you still have it on and put it on top of the iPad here and forget about it a little bit, it will turn itself off, so it won't drain all your battery even if you forgot. So very, very good build quality for $15-ish. Again, I think I got this one for $10 on Prime Day. The tips are very easy to replace. They are not the exact same as Apple Pencil tips. They are a little different. Even the inside is pretty different looking, but they give you replacements and they're all plastic. So it's not like it should wear out very quickly by any means. And this could totally last you years, assuming the pen itself holds up that long. But even if it would break, it's like 10 to 15 bucks to replace it. And even if it just lasts you a year, that's still pretty stinking good. The magnets hold better than the Digital Pencil Pro, but they're not phenomenal. I do think the alignment of these magnets was meant more for the older iPads as well. So even though, yes, it is compatible with this new version as far as software-wise, hardware-wise, the magnets are still not a perfect match. You can get it snapped pretty good on this half of it, but this side of the stylus is not staying magnetized very well. So yeah, you knock it off pretty easy, but not quite as easy, especially if you're pushing on this half. Not anywhere near as easy as the Digital Pencil Pro. For context, this can be tapping at the same level of hardness and it does not stay on at all. I also hear a lot of people say that they think the Apple Pencil is a bit long. So this one is a little bit shorter. I think for some of you out there, this is actually going to be a nicer size to hold. I believe the dimensions of this pencil is very, very close to the USB-C Apple Pencil that Apple made themselves. And to be honest, looking at this one, I almost don't see a single reason to go for Apple's USB-C Apple Pencil versus something like this. But more on that in a second. All right, so how do all these styluses connect and how easy are they to use? Well, we'll start with the Crayon again. You switch it on and you just start writing. It's that easy. I never had this paired to anything. It just starts going. Although if you did have an Apple Pencil with your iPad and it's still paired, these will not connect and work right away. You have to unpair the Apple Pencil and then this starts working no problem. So I would say these actually pair even quicker than the Apple Pencil itself. And they do use Bluetooth, but however that works, it is very fast. I don't really see any latency. I'm not seeing any delay really as I'm writing. Even if the Apple Pencil is fractionally better, you cannot tell. I mean, maybe if you're an artist, this is all you do and it has to be exact for what you're doing, maybe you'll tell, maybe. But honestly, I don't think you really will. I cannot see a difference in latency with the Crayon versus the actual Apple Pencil itself. And of course, this promises the pixel perfect precision, it's a lot of P's there, that the Apple Pencil themselves all have. So it's gonna be very, very precise, really easy to use. And if you switch over to something like a pencil tool, it does have tilt sensitivity, and it can do shading like that as well. There's just no pressure sensitivity, which is actually the same as Apple's own USB-C Apple Pencil. All right, I'm gonna move to the more generic brand one again, because this pairs the exact same way as the Logitech Crayon. You just switch it on and it just starts working. And it works the exact same way. It has no pressure sensitivity, but you can do tilt sensitivity on it. It has palm rejection. So it basically boasts the exact same features as the much more expensive Logitech Crayon. The only thing it can't say is that it uses official Apple Pencil technology and it has that pixel perfect precision. But I don't know about you. You tell me if this looks any less precise than the Logitech Crayon. I'm gonna do a side-by-side writing with both of them. Here's the Logitech Crayon. This is how precise I can be here. I'm going to do a very, very similar motion with the other pen. And It's hard to tell for sure, but it seems like everywhere I put the tip of this pen, it's marking. And that seems pretty pixel perfect to me. I can't really notice anything different here, especially not a big enough difference that's worth $40 or more. And this one magnetically attaches and stores right here. Lastly, there is the ESR Digital Pencil Pro, and this one does require you to pair it. So when you first open up the stylus, you'll have to power it on. Actually, quick correction, it looks like it does actually work even while it's not paired. If you want to access the shortcuts that this pen features, then you're going to need it to be paired. The shortcuts are the stupidest shortcuts you could put on a stylus. But let me show you. So I pair this pen here, and guess what I can do now? I can press it and go to the home screen. Why? Why is this not switch to an eraser tool? Pull up my tool palette or something like that. What's with the go home button? I'm just imagining, right? I'm in this app, I'm doing some writing stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I need to go home. And that's what I do? No. If I'm writing and I want to go to the home screen, I swipe from the bottom. And that's so much faster. I don't have to flip around my pen or readjust my grip to get to the top. It also can double tap for the app switcher, which again, why? I can just do that. It's so unnecessary. And because the magnetic charging isn't working for me, that's like the only benefit to the ESR Digital Pencil Pro. That is not a benefit to me. Get this one, not this one. I'm saying right now, this one is not impressing me. I'm very confused as to why ESR felt that was the shortcut they should put on a writing stylus. And maybe their options were limited, but then I just say don't include the feature and lower the price more versus making this shortcut button that helps you not at all. But also a fun fact, all of these can be paired at the same time, but they cannot write at the same time. So if I'm writing with this one does not work. In fact, it kind of makes them both glitch out, as you can see here. And they're freaking out because they're both trying to give inputs on the same signal at the same time. But if I just put this one down and then just write with this one, then it works just fine. Same thing with the crayon. It's still on here. Now I can write with it. So it doesn't matter if other ones of these are connected to the same iPad or if it's connected to another iPad or whatever, they will all work as styluses. You just can't have an actual Apple Pencil connected to it, or for whatever reason, it just stops them from working when this is connected. All right, so has latency been an issue for any of these? I would say absolutely not. This is supposedly official Apple tech, but I don't think this is any better than the very cheap version. And for ESR, I'm honestly not a big fan of this one just because of the kind of useless shortcut button. And when I first started using this pen, it was kind of choppy. So I turned off the auto refine handwriting right now because I want to see if I can replicate what happened to me when I first started using this pen. So obviously I wrote very fast. It wants me to correct some of my mistakes here, but I didn't get it to replicate this problem. So it could have just been a fluke of it just connecting and now it's working totally fine. But I just want to let you know, I did experience it being a little choppy when initially connected, where I did not experience that with either of the other styluses that are featured here. So to conclude with latency and the writing feel, they're all very, very comparable, especially if you use the monoline tool where it doesn't even take into account pressure sensitivity at all anyway. I mean, it's gonna feel a lot like writing with the Apple Pencil itself. And I actually write with the monoline a good amount because I think it makes my handwriting look a little bit more legible. For most of what I do on the Apple Pencil, I could 100% get away with one of these styluses. The biggest part for me is the double tap and the squeeze gesture that the Apple Pencil Pro has. And I don't want to live without those. Could I maybe? Yeah, but I choose not to. And I do love the convenience of double tapping to get to the eraser really fast and squeezing to bring up the tool palette, or even squeeze to erase is an option as well. So having those options on the Apple Pencil Pro is going to make this still the stylus for me. But if you're not used to using those features, you're going to still get a really, really good note-taking experience with a stylus like one of these three. And you can still take advantage of all the new smart script features that is in iPadOS 18. So I can turn on auto refined handwriting, and while I'm actually writing, it can help make it better. And I spelled that wrong, and I can fix it right there. So all of those work in this one. You can also scribble to erase, which does make not having a eraser, quick gesture, and all that actually way more tolerable. And you can hold down to add a space here. I still find the spacing a little buggy in iPadOS 18, but it's something you can do if you want to put back in actually. And you can still copy all of this, and you can paste it right here, and it rewrites it all in my own handwriting. And because I copied the handwriting, it actually looked exactly the same, which is pretty cool. And you can copy text like that, and it will rewrite it in your own handwriting. And the more data it has, the longer you've had this feature on, the better it'll look. So you can take advantage of all these smart script features just with this generic stylus. You can also do 10 times 20 equals and solve and get the answer, and take advantage of all the math notes features as well. I tested these styluses in other third-party apps as well, and from all the ones I tested, like GoodNotes, Notability, they worked really well. I was writing a good amount with each of them in GoodNotes. I did not see any latency problems or issues there. It all worked really fluidly. And because GoodNotes has some pretty interesting AI features as well, it also makes you miss the double tap and other shortcuts less, because it has the scribble to erase, and it also has the circle to lasso tool, and it can try to auto-complete your words if it guesses it correctly or whatever, and it has spell check just like Apple's. It can auto-complete words while you're writing them in your own handwriting. All those really cool things as well. So yeah, a stylus like this is way more practical with the software we now have to go along with it, and you're not really losing a lot here. So if you were looking for me to tell you that one of these styluses is better than the Apple Pencil Pro, well, this is just not the video for you, because none of them are. This is a better stylus, and it can do much more. It has the barrel roll, it has Find My, it has several other really nice features. But this is not a terrible option, and for a fraction of the cost, this, for a lot of people on a budget out there, is a no-brainer. And yes, I'm holding this stylus in particular because I feel like it is the best value out of all three of these. The Logitech Crayon is overpriced. For what you're getting, even in the box, they don't give you a cable, they don't give you extra tips. You have to buy the special kit and tool to even replace the tips on this. It's just not that great. It doesn't magnetize to your iPad at all, and the design of it has worn on me a little bit. Sometimes it feels kind of fatiguing. It's not always, it's not a terrible design by any means. If you like the Surface Pen, it's gonna feel like that, but it just doesn't work for the iPad, at least not in my opinion. And especially when there's options like these out there that are so much cheaper than even the Logitech Crayon, they do the exact same things. I don't recommend the ESR one just simply because a couple of the features they advertise for it either don't work or just kind of crappy. Like the shortcuts just don't make any sense to me, and the magnetic charging does not work on the new version of the iPad. But these generic Amazon brands, I don't know what it is about them, but they just work so well. And they feel a better quality than even the ESR pen, and they just do everything you need them to do. I would recommend these above Apple's USB-C pencil and any other budget Apple Pencil alternative out there. The only thing the USB-C Apple Pencil can do that this one doesn't do is say Apple Pencil at the top, and it cannot support the hover feature that only a few iPads support anyway. In fact, none of these support hover. Besides that one feature, this is doing the same thing as Apple's $80 USB-C Apple Pencil for a fraction of that price, and it does most of the things their $130 Apple Pencil does for a even smaller fraction of that price. And that's a deal that's really hard to beat. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video and you have more confidence in which of these styluses to purchase for yourself. Or maybe you realized, okay, yeah, all these are nice deals, but I need those shortcut features from the Apple Pencil itself. And you know what? That's fair. And it does magnetically charge and all of that stuff, and that's convenient. Although with these being USB-C, they don't drain any power from your iPad. And I know some of you have commented out there, you've had some pretty significant battery drain issues with the Apple Pencil Pro. Personally, I haven't had that much myself, but if you're having a problem like that, occasionally charging one of these with USB-C is really not that big a deal. And if you have like a USB-C cord in your bag to even charge your iPad or whatever, you can easily use that for the pen itself whenever you need it to. You can even charge it from the USB-C port on the iPad itself. If there's anything else you want to know about some of these cheaper styluses, let me know in the comments below. I've been very impressed with them. I will definitely be keeping one of these cheaper pencils here because they were so cheap and they're really good actually. So I might even try using it off and on instead of my Apple Pencil Pro, decide if I really do need those Apple Pencil features. And if I follow up saying that I'm selling this Apple Pencil, well, I'll let you guys know. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I'll definitely have this around. So if you have any questions, please reach out. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Comment below any questions or any thoughts or experiences that you've had, and share this video so it can get out to more people so they can be informed with whatever Apple Pencil alternative they need. I got a goal to get to 5,000 subscribers for the end of the summer, and it's going by fast. So I really got to pick up the pace. So please subscribe. And if you have any friends that you know that aren't subscribed, we'll call them up and just say, what are you doing? You got to subscribe to Graf-X Tech. Whatever you guys can do to help me out would be greatly appreciated. It'll just help me make more of these videos and faster. If you would like any of the styluses that are featured in this video, they're all going to be linked in the description down below. They are affiliate links, so I will get a little commission from that, which just helps with the channel, but I am not sponsored by any of these brands. No one told me to buy these things. No one sent it to me. I bought these myself on Prime Day to review it for you guys. And as always, have a great rest of your day.